Richard Kling, a defense attorney and clinical professor clinical professor of law at the Chicago Kent College of Law. Excuse me for screwing up your introduction, but welcome to the show, Professor.
Good morning. My pleasure.
One thing I noticed about this law is it's so much more than eliminating cash bail. This is a complete and comprehensive redoing of policing in the entire state of Illinois from my reading of it. But it looks like after this ruling, it will not take effect in 65 counties, but in 37 counties, it will. So can you explain to us a little bit about this ruling and how it's sort of thrown a wrench into this sort of historic bail reform that the state of Illinois, or at least the Democrats here, were hoping to plan?
Well, prosecutors in a number of counties filed a lawsuit contending the law was unconstitutional. The cases were consolidated by the Illinois Supreme Court and sent to Kankakee, Illinois, one of the suburban courts of Chicago. And the judge last week, in fact, just a couple of days ago, ruled at least on two grounds that the statute was unconstitutional and should not go into effect. One ground was that the Illinois Constitution says all people are bailable on sufficient surety. And so the judge came to the conclusion that the statute was in conflict with the Constitution. And the other issue that the judge ruled on is that the judiciary makes the rules, that is, the judicial branch makes the rules for what happens in the courtroom, and here the legislature overstepped their ability, and they essentially a separation of powers argument. And so those two grounds were the bases of the judge declaring the statute unconstitutional.
And so now it's up to the state Supreme Court, which, as you said, consolidated the cases and sent it down to that Kankakee courtroom where this ruling was made. But I wonder, did the legislature in Illinois overstep its authority, or will it stand up to appeal once that appeal is heard?
Well, the Attorney General of the state of Illinois has taken an appeal to the Illinois Supreme Court. I imagine they're going to rule relatively quickly. Realistically, you can't have a state operating under a statute where 65 counties function one way and 30-something counties function a different way. It's not workable in a state where you have one statute.
And it sounds like this bail reform had a lot to do with a case-by-case basis, that either you're going to be held or you're going to be allowed to go, and it's going to be on a case-by-case basis, and there's no reason to hold people on the condition of cash. Do I have that right?
Pretty much so. What ended up happening is, well, there are a lot of people who were put out on what are known as recognizance bonds. In other words, they didn't have to come up with any money. In the low-level crimes, that's what's been happening for a number of years. The population of the Cook County Department of Corrections, which houses the people in the Chicago area, went from 11 or 12,000 inmates a few years ago down to much lower, to 6,000 or 7,000. And that's because a lot of people on low-level crimes were let out on recognizance bonds. All they had to do was sign their name. The people that it affected were people who were on the more serious crimes, and the unfairness of somebody who was charged with a serious crime of being able to come up with $25,000 or $50,000 and get out, where somebody who doesn't have that money for the same crime stays in. So that's one of the things that the statute will address.
That is certainly interesting. I guess we're going to have to wait and see if and when this is put into effect, but it sounds like it's going into effect in places like Cook County here in Chicago and 36 other counties. But 65 counties are operating by different rules, and as you said, it's pretty much unsustainable. So we're all waiting for the Illinois Supreme Court to step in right there.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.